Hello, everyone. So, I'm actually taking a break because I literally just busted my ass, like literally on hard, like hard rock. Somehow, I don't know, I slipped and I fell, and now I'm a little bit better. I took some pain reliever, and so I thought I would go ahead and do my teacher story Tuesday, except talk about people have asked me how is it that I've managed to stay in Spain for almost 4 years, and what was it that made my decision. So basically, I'm going to talk about my decision of being a teacher and why I decided to change that. And I thought, what a beautiful way to do it, but on vacation, since apparently I don't know how to rest. So, here we go. This is kind of a bit my story. So, here's my teacher story Tuesday. So, I would say about prior to moving to Spain, most of you or most of my friends that have been actually tuning in know that I actually had a career. So right out of high school, right out of university, I actually landed worked at a job where I worked for an elected official. Um, and then I got scouted by a second one, and then I ended up working for a second elected official, and honestly, it was a great job in the sense that I learned a little bit of everything and I felt very comfortable in that job. But for some reason, I was always had this sense of restlessness about living in Houston and wanting to always travel. So I decided to go ahead and do this program and to see if I would, perhaps go take a go at it and also live in Europe for a little while and just take 1 year off like a sabbatical year. Well, I ended up getting into the program and doing it through another program where they kind of give you an orientation and they walk you through all the steps and help you with like the visa situation and give you some teaching tips and things like that. Which now that particular program has expanded a lot, significantly more, and it's a very honestly, I think that from the time that I've been there to now, it's definitely grown in such a massive way that it's shown that it has a lot of perks to the program if you belong to it. So I worked for this program. I also worked for the program during the summers. But basically, back it up. So I was just gonna do it 1 year, and I literally had sold everything, designer bags, everything, my car. You know, I left my place. It was quite a huge move, and it was definitely a gamble, but it was something that I needed it so badly. Like I needed to just kind of break free in a weird way. Um, and I had kind of the year before moving, I had kind of had a weird breakup, and I was just kind of done with everything. So, um, fast forward to my first year in Spain, I literally was just ecstatic. It was honestly that year I never got homesick. It was kind of like a honeymoon phase. So my first year I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to do this. I could renew a second year if I'd like and whatever, I'll just see what happens. Well, that year I decided to travel everywhere. And when I mean everywhere, I went everywhere, even to the freaking desert. I ended up on a camel somehow. So I went everywhere. I traveled everywhere. But one of the things that shocked me the most is that I wasn't sure, but I ended up really loving teaching. Like, I ended up really enjoying my job and kind of learning from other teachers that were teaching as well and learning the culture. So I was just constantly stimulated and also constantly adapting. And then my second year, I renewed, and I told my mom, I was like, I'm staying another year. She goes, well, that's good. Do it one more year. Blah, 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 blah. My mom was actually very, like, gung-ho about me doing it. And then I did a little bit of traveling, but that year I had a different mindset. And my mindset was to actually, to see if I could see myself live in Madrid. And then roughly around that time, I also got a little homesick, and I started obviously missing tacos, and I miss spicy food. Like, it's really difficult to find spicy food in Madrid. Because, yeah, Spanish people don't like spicy food, which I don't know why. It's amazing. Anyways, I digress. So, I started missing home, and then I went back home that December. And I had not been home in over a year and a half. And it was quite impressive because everything was the same. Everything felt great, but I didn't feel the same. And then I started getting anxious about it and really having battles with a little bit of anxiety, insomnia, and thinking, oh my gosh, I cannot come back to Texas. Mom, don't get offended. It wasn't that. It was just that I just felt really comfortable in where I was. And I really thought and I really think both, that I could make a life for myself here. So I started researching different avenues, and then I ran across this master's program, which was great because I was like, I could get my certification and get another qualifications that will help me in my future, and especially since education is my jam and I really enjoy it. And this is another way for me to stay in Spain, and so it just kind of all worked out. Well, yes, it kind of all worked out, but I ended up having really severe case of anxiety and literally having breakdowns every so often. This part was kind of really rough, and that is going to be a different video or a different blog post because that has definitely been a bit of a journey, almost, dealing with it for 2 years. I will say, like, in September or October, it will mark 2 years that I've been kind of dealing with it. So, the reason I'm kind of telling my story, and I'm telling it and not writing it, is because a lot has happened in 4 years, but one of the things that I wish was definitely told to me was that not to be so hard on myself, and to also keep an open mind about living abroad. One of the things that I noticed when I was working in summer camps, and I also worked for a Teach Abroad program, was that people were having the same issues as I was, which is why I could definitely identify with them. But the issues were, I think that the expectations they had were that this is going to be Study Abroad 2.0. Woo! No, it's not. You're working. You see things in a completely different perspective, and it's not everything's a freaking dream. I mean, don't get me wrong. I am extremely blessed. I know this, that I get to travel and I get to do things, but I know a lot of people see my Instagram and they're like, oh my gosh, she's doing this, she's doing that, but it is not all it's cracked up to be, and which is why I kind of started my website, because I see that there are a lot of websites and there's a lot of information. There's also a lot of information that's not exactly correct out there, but there's a lot of information that is just focused on, oh, it's just going to be great, it's going to be fabulous, it's going to be that. No, it's not. It's going to be, yes, it's going to be great, but it's also going to be shitty, like really shitty. And I think that people need to mentally prepare themselves for that. I know I wish I did. I thought I was a very mentally strong person, but I think that when you live abroad for a certain amount of time, you end up having these issues that you just didn't even know existed. So basically, one of my main things that I want to make sure that you get out of this video is that yes, you can pretty much change your career whenever you want. You can pretty much, change is going to be inevitable anyways. But I think that being a person that's very self-aware is extremely important, especially when you're dealing with children, because children, you have to be very aware, because I think they're a lot more aware and more in tune than we are as adults. And I think that it's important to kind of have that awareness and be clear in what you want. Maybe not knowing how you're going to get there, but just doing it. So my story, basically, I ended up staying another year after I got my master's, because I went ahead and renewed with the same, with a different program, and really enjoyed my school. I've worked in both public and private schools, which I love them both in different ways, but there's definitely a different way of how they manage things and how they do things, and I've learned the expertise on that. Also in my master's, one of the things that I really enjoyed and loved was the fact that I was surrounded by people that did really care about education and were invested in their students, and whether they agreed with the Spanish system or not, they had a clear path and that they liked education, which is one of the things that I can't stand when I see a bunch of student teachers that come to teach English in Spain. A lot of them are like, "Whoa, I'm just coming, just to like drink tinto de veranos and have a lot of jamon." No, like, you're also here to do a job. Like, grow up. So it drives me a little crazy because it's just, I don't know, it's just not fun. And it's not nice to see, because I also know that probably other people might think that I'm like that, even though they know, once they get to know me, they know I'm not. But I just don't like to be, nobody likes to be judged like that. And the fact that a lot of student teachers here and a lot of teachers here have that reputation, especially if they are natives, and trying to avoid that. But basically, that's my story. My story, kind of every year, has been a different feeling and a different experience. And right now I'm really excited. I did not really realize the outreach I was going to have. And thank you for those who are still watching, and there are a lot more things to come. I can't say right now because they're kind of in the midst of being brewed, and but I'm really excited, and thank you for watching. And also, if you would like to contribute any teacher story, and I don't care if you teach in Spain, I don't care if you teach in United Arab Emirates, because I see I have a following there, lots of people, also Indonesia or anywhere. If you teach in another country, please bring an anecdote. Tell your story about maybe something that's cultural that a teacher would want to know, and we can share it on the blog. I would like to create this sense of community where teachers can just kind of hash out what they need to, and I can change names, don't worry. We don't even have to have your face on there, okay? Just something where we can all come together and we can all discuss and talk about differences, or talk about the way things are alike, and just kind of create this cool teacher abroad tribe. And thanks for listening to my story. And like I said, there's going to be more things to come. I also discuss a lot on my blog. I discuss a lot about things that you need to look for and things that you need to pre-plan before you actually decide to come abroad. And also different teaching techniques, which are coming. I'll post once every week, and then there's a teacher story Tuesday every week, and on Sunday I also post some things on the Instagram page. So if you'd like to contribute, I will put the information down below, and also my website down below, and then you can send me any type of contribution. And I try to not edit too much. You know, I try to have a bit of a limit, but because I think that that needs to be like a sacred space for teachers and to kind of say whatever they want. But thank you so much for the outreach, and I was not expecting people to actually catch on as quickly. So I really, really thank you very much. And bye from Tenerife.